Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Fantasy Filmball. I'm Matt. With me is Dylan and Arno, and today we are going to be going over a bit of a tier list for the Oscars 2022 documentary shortlist nominations. I don't know, Arno. Would you like to explain what we're going to be doing today?
Of course. So the shortlist, the Academy Awards reveal their shortlist in multiple categories, including documentary. And so that's 15 films that are shortlisted, 5 of which will eventually be nominated, 1 of which will win. So here I have a tier list giving you the odds on what documentaries are most favorable to be nominated. And Matt and Dylan have not seen this tier list, so they will see it at the same time you do. They're going to either agree with me or they're going to roast me. Let's see what happens.
I'm going to roast the shit out of you, Arno. Not even for the documentary shortlist. I'm just going to roast you.
Maybe I'll roast you back with that no you.
I just want to see where Bad Axe lands.
Oh, Bad Axe, man. It's. I'll tell you, it will rank over Goodnight Oppie.
Oh,
yep.
Too bad.
There it is.
And Senior. And Senior.
Hey, I was so confident. I said one of these are going to win, and neither even made it to the short list. So
also, before you reveal this, I just want to say I've seen 12 out of these 15, and I was trying to watch one more before we recorded, but I could not make it in. But I've seen 12 out of these 15, so I am gonna try to give a little bit of like context for some of them, because there's some great films here.
I've seen half of that, so you'll definitely
be
able to
6 as well.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
So. Yeah, I need to catch up on some of these. Some of these are hard to find as well, but I will definitely
2 of them
be catching
are
up on them.
not out anywhere, which sucks.
Yeah. Either way, though, so as we said, Goodnight Oppie and Senior, I think the 2 biggest snubs here, Senior, Dyl was saying was Netflix's biggest push. Matt and I were like, it's Descendant, obviously. Yeah. But either way, so sorry, Dyl, that did not. Also, Wildcat didn't show up, although I don't know if we really expected much from that one. And then, of course, Goodnight Oppie, which I saw just shortly before the shortlist came out, and I was like, this could be a VFX contender, and then it didn't even make that. So what happened?
Brutal. Good night to Goodnight Oppie.
I'm not terribly mad to see it gone. It probably wouldn't be a top 5 documentary for me, but like that was definitely a surprise that didn't make even the short list. Either way, here is my tier list organized in 5 tiers, so S through D. Of course, the films that are at the front are the ones that are ranked a bit higher within the tier. So here it is. In tier D, I have Hidden Letters, Last Flight Home, Children of the Mist, The Janes. In tier C, I have A House Made of Splinters, Retrograde, Hallelujah, Leonard Cohen, A Journey, a Song, Bad Axe, Moon Age Daydream. In tier B, I have The Territory, Descendant, and All the Beauty and the Bloodshed. And in tier A, I have Fire of Love, Navalny, and All That Breathes.
Okay, so you're saying the first 3 are the ones that you think are definitely getting nominated, and you say tier B are the ones on the chopping block, then, right?
Tier B are not safe, essentially.
Yeah. I guess I can. So, are you predicting All That Breathes to win?
No, this is an order of what is most likely to be nominated.
Okay.
I think right now, this is of the 3 specialty film categories. I think this is the category that is most difficult right now at this moment to predict the winner. If I have to predict right now, I think it's between Navalny and Fire of Love.
Interesting.
Those with Goodnight Oppie gone, and with if you look at this slate, I mean, this is a pretty depressing slate of films. and 2 of the non-depressing ones are musical biopics, which I don't particularly have faith in. So if the nominees are, one of these 6 in the top 6 here, so let's say it's Navalny, All That Breathes, Fire of Love, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, and Descendant. Fire of Love and Navalny. Navalny is a serious film for sure with its topic, but it's got like that infamous prank call scene,
Holy
if you want to
shit.
call it that.
Don't spoil
that,
it, because I want Dylan to see that completely blind.
I haven't seen it either. I just know that it's there.
Oh my god. It's one of the most
But-
exceptional scenes in any documentary. It's insane.
Yeah. I'm excited to see it, but I think those Navalny and especially Fire of Love are probably the two. It's weird to call them uplifting. Fire of Love literally ends in both both of them dying from a volcano. But like those are the two most. I think they're the two highest rated films on IMDb, other than All the Beauty and the Bloodshed. But that's that hasn't gotten a ton of ratings yet, and I think it's like from. That's a film that has a very niche community of fans, like more high-end intellectual New York people will fucking love this film. And then I don't know if
made
the
for
greater
the Upper
public,
East Side.
Yeah, whereas the greater public may not fall in love with the film as much is my concern. There's a chance the film doesn't get nominated, and if it does get nominated, I will have to see how voters react. Because I'm struggling to see it win, not because I don't love the film. I think the film's fantastic, but again, I feel like the people who love the film the most are a certain group of people who don't represent the majority, and I think the majority, especially in this category, tends to lean towards the uplifting or the films that really tries to get you, that inspire you, whether that's Icarus with telling you how terrible the doping was, or Free Solo that shows you an incredible exploit, or something like that. And Fire of Love is the one I think that comes the closest, other than like I said, Navalny, because that's showing you basically an incredible human being from what I understand. I mean, so is All the Beauty and Bloodshed, but it's an artist. Like, nobody gives a shit about artists, right? Like,
So, to me, what stands out the most here is I also agree All That Breeze seems the safest, but with this branch, nothing's ever safe. But I also don't see it as a winner. I also agree. I think I've said this to Matt throughout the whole season. Navalny, if it gets in, it wins. My thing is, does it get in? Because the discussion around it is so positive, but also it came out so early, and there's been times where the discussion can go down, and other films come up where that's All the Beauty, Fire Love, Goodnight Oppie, and now it seems like it's going to come back. To me, though, I've heard a lot of chatter online about the Janes, about Bad Acts, about being ones that could be sleeper ones where if they get in, they could stand a real chance if they make the short list, and they both showed up here. So to me, one of those could be the surprise fifth place, especially if All the Beauty or Fire Love or Descendant ends up missing.
I definitely know see what you mean with the Janes, because especially given that the subject is so relevant and that we really don't have a big abortion movie to kind of represent that issue this year. We would have had Happening, but that doesn't qualify, unfortunately. So the Janes could perhaps represent that in documentary. I think the form of the film, maybe this will bite me in the ass later, but I think the form of the film is just way too basic. You could say the same about Attica, though, which was nominated last year.
It's totally Attica.
That's why I have it in D tier, is that like it's a relevant topic, but God, it looks so basic. I don't know if people will be like passionate about it. But Matt, like if we're talking about real world issues, I know Navalny kind of represents the Ukraine conflict a little bit, but I mean, so does A House Made of Splinters, right? You're the only one who's seen that film. Is that a film that could kind of be that pillar?
No, I would say maybe if we didn't have Navalny. So I'll go backwards a little bit. I think it's funny that you say that the only two uplifting ones in the top 5 are Navalny and Fire of Love, because I'd say actually the top 5 right there, I think all of them end with a very uplifting note. But Dylan, like you said before, if Navalny gets nominated, it's in it to win it. But to me, I think that the biggest hurdle for it's not the nomination, it was getting on the short list. It's clear now that it's on the short list that people have not forgotten about it. And something that I've felt all year long is that, it's a film of its time. And a lot of the time in the documentary category, we see films win that are very relevant. And at the beginning of the year, I think the fear with Navalny being the early frontrunner was, well, if the war ends, then is it relevant anymore? But clearly the war in Ukraine is still ongoing. It's still the number one situation and story that's happening and unfolding in front of our eyes in history right now. So with that being said, I think Navalny should be an S tier, I think.
I haven't seen Navalny yet, so I can't be as confident as you, but S tier to me means like it's winning hands down, and I don't know if I can say that in the documentary category right now.
I guess you're right about that. I don't know if it's hands down, but I feel incredibly confident that it's winning. And I would actually say All That Breathes is its main competition, because that film's so beautiful and cinematic. But to your question about A House Made of Splinters, that film, it's very small, it's very slight, and to be honest, I think it's a very good film, but you go into it expecting a film about the conflict in Ukraine that's currently happening, and that's not the film you get. So automatically there's an expectation that is not met when you start this film. You go into it wanting to learn a little bit about this conflict, and that's not what you get. It's a verite, fly-on-the-wall account of an orphanage that just so happens to be very close to where the fighting is currently happening in Ukraine. And these kids that are in this orphanage have been orphaned by previous conflicts in that region. So it has nothing to do with the war that's currently going on there, but these are war orphans who are in the eastern Ukraine. So with that said, it's a good film, and I might predict it higher if Navalny was not on this list. But Navalny is on this list, which means that I don't see there being room for both of them, especially because Navalny leaves you with a call to action. It leaves you feeling like you understand a little bit more about what's going on right now. And A House Made of Splinters is just, it's a pleasant little film. Something I would want to say here, just in reordering it, I would drop Hallelujah, Leonard Cohen, A Journey, a Song, down to D tier, and I would move The Janes up to its position. Because as Dylan pointed out, yes, it's a very basic film. It's very bland in execution. However, it's about a very important topic. I wouldn't put it above any... I'd put it exactly where you have Hallelujah, and I'd put Hallelujah exactly where you have The Janes.
Okay, that's fair. And Dyl, you've seen Moonage Daydream. Do you think that this could be one of the rare music documentaries, to kind of get a nomination, maybe even a win like Amy, or is this just too weird?
This would be the weirdest documentary win of all time. As a huge Bowie fan, I have a shirt right over there. I should probably go grab it and put it on. But I would be upset if it got in. To me, it's not really a documentary. It's more just like a collection of pictures. I think Matt really phrased it well when he talked about it after seeing that TIFF. So I'll hand it over to him for him to dive into it a little bit deeper. But to me, that one would be the most surprising nomination here, even with it showing up on the Sound shortlist. I think there's a pretty clear top 5 to me, with a possibility, like I mentioned before, of Bad Axe or The Janes surprising if something like All the Beauty and the Bloodshed or Descendant miss because maybe they're a little too gloomy, or Fire Love misses just because of all the archival footage.
Yeah, Bad Axe is looking like a real dark horse here. It's got great reviews. It's a topical subject matter, and one, we're still kind of at the end of the pandemic, and this is a film, that tackles some really important issues within the pandemic. I haven't seen it. Is this something that could surprise us on nomination morning? I'm not 100% certain. That's why I haven't, 8th place here. So, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I've got it in 7th place personally. I agree with Dylan. I think it's totally possible. It feels like a Minding the Gap type film. It's very similar. It's very personal. And it getting a nomination would be similar to Minding the Gap, which is not a film that feels like it needs to be nominated for Best Documentary, especially because that film, it's not really about social issues, or it has some of those undercurrents, but at its surface, it's a film about friends skateboarding. And with this, it's a very similar style, but with subject matter that hits a little bit harder. And as for Moonage Daydream, I agree with you, Dylan. I don't feel like documentary is the best way to describe it. It's an audio-visual experience, is how I'd say it. It's a film that, you watch, you let the sound wash over you. Do you walk away from it knowing anything more about Bowie than you did before? Absolutely not. It's not
I disagree.
Film. I don't know. I didn't learn a damn thing about Bowie, but personally I just enjoyed.
That's because you're a nerd and you already knew everything about him.
Yeah, I love David Bowie.
Okay.
I love
So
David Bowie.
what I want to know is what is everyone's 5 here? Because like I've mentioned before, I have Navalny at 1, All That Breathes at 2, Fire of Love, Descendant, All the Beauty at 3, 4, 5, with Bad Axe or the Janes as a possible upset. But what do each of y'all have as y'all's top 5, and then maybe the one that comes in if something misses?
My 5 is the top 5 you see here. So basically, All That Breeds, Navalny, Fire of Love, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, Descendant. I could see a surprise snub for All the Beauty and the Bloodshed. I think if it's in, it might have a stronger case to win. But we've seen this. It looks like, I was convinced the whole year that Fire of Love would be the surprise snub. I'm starting to think it's going to be All the Beauty and the Bloodshed. And it would suck for my team. but it's just it fits the bill. It really does fit the bill. Whereas Fire of Love, I think, is more of a Crip Camp than Apollo 11. You know what I mean?
Fair.
Yeah, that sounds right to me. I mean, as much as I'd hate to see it, All the Beauty, since Goodnight Oppie's out of the running, because Goodnight Oppie was the surprise snub. But with Goodnight Oppie out of the running, it does feel like All the Beauty and the Bloodshed is at risk, and Fire of Love is also at risk. Both of those films are very much at risk, and Descendant, I think, is also at risk. But right now, I mean, I have the same top 5 as you, but my order is Navalny, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, All That Breathes, Descendant, and Fire of Love. And I had Territory at number 6. I watched it today. I'd actually drop it down after seeing it, and I'd have Bad Axe at number 6 instead. And my reason for dropping the Territory down is that it's a powerful film. It's very well shot. However, the topics being discussed about indigenous sovereignty, about land back, about conservation, I think that all the things it talks about are things that the United States of America is not ready to talk about yet. If these were Canadian awards, I think we'd be talking about it more, because as you know, Arno, Indigenous reconciliation is a major topic in Canada right now. The United States hasn't gotten there yet. So
it's one of the things we're a bit ahead in compared to the U.S.
Absolutely, and I think
not to brag.
In a few years, the Territory would be a strong contender for a win, even in the United States, because these topics are coming. But at this point, I don't know if that's going to resonate with Hollywood voters.
Fair enough. It's one I have not checked out yet, but it's one I am definitely looking forward to. But everyone out there, I want to ask you, which documentary are you predicting to win, and which one is going to be the big snub of the year? Is it All the Beauty and the Bloodshed? Is it Descendant? Is it Fire Love? Or does Navalny just miss entirely? But until next time, my name is Dyl.
And my name is Matt. And we've also got Arno with us. Hey, Arno. And this is Fantasy Filmball.